Advancement via individual determination is something I thought I would never embrace. All my life, I put myself in the position of being a stranger among my classmates. This was because my skin was brown and I was the only student who had difficulty speaking English. This was because when I was 9, my parents decided to come to America. They believed that coming to a new country was the ideal thing to do. After a while, they realized that crossing rivers and worrying about paying bills month after month after month was not worth it. But they knew they needed to stay here to provide an education for my brother and me. My first several years in school, I felt there was nobody like me. I was alone. More than that, I was a student who was getting bad grades. I was a student who was in depression because not one of the classmates would talk to him. As time passed, I began telling myself that the Latinos were the only people that would understand me. Sorrowfully, the only Latinos that I knew in my school and in my neighborhood thought that they could only be successful by joining gangs. There I was, a student who wanted to be part of a group. Sadly, the group that I joined was called Southside. They taught me that skipping school and getting into fights was the correct thing to do. I was a fool for following their suggestions. Before I knew it, I was in 8th grade with the record of all Fs and being a bad student. Teachers at Greeley called gang members thugs. My behavior matched those words. I would cuss at teachers, get into fights, leave class without permission. If my friends wanted to get into trouble, I wanted to get in trouble as well. As a clique, you need to stick together. It was not only my friends who influenced me in that direction, my brother was a gang member as well. It seemed if dark clouds were meant to follow me. One day after school, I saw my mother crying. My brother had gotten her in a fight with gangs. When I saw my mother crying, something flashed my eyes. The only thing my mother said, "Ivan, don't make the same mistake." I was petrified, and I crumbled in tears because I knew I was already making the mistake. That night, I got on my knees, and I prayed to God. I asked Him to bless me with a new beginning. I knew I needed to change, not only for me, but for my family. They had risked their lives by crossing the border to support my brother and me. I needed to change. That new beginning came to me in my 8th grade year. My English as a second language teacher, Miss Reed, gave me an application for the Greeley West AVID program. What's AVID? Who cares, I said. I never told this to anyone before, but I did not even fill out the application. She did it for me. It was destiny. My freshman year, my first class, AVID class, or what I call binder class. In that class, to my surprise, there were students. Those students were good students. Their language was better than mine. Their clothing was not gang related, and they spoke about college, something I did not know anything about. What I know and understand now is that day my angel arrived. David Falter, teacher at Greeley West High School, told me, "Ivan, I believe you can go to college." Falter was the first person who believed in me academically. Falter taught me to believe in myself. Falter is my AVID teacher. Through AVID, I acquired a unique experience. The first thing that I understood was that we were a dysfunctional family. We all were from different backgrounds. As a result, many conflicts were exposed. I remember the biggest argument. It came when we had to binder checks. We had a competition to see which binder was the heaviest. The competition became so intense, but so intense, that after the competition, the class formed their own cliques. But when it was time to do homework, we were a family. You could hear people whisper, hey, what's the answer for number 5? AVID has given me the second chance I always wanted. I truly believe God put AVID in my path. I remember my freshman year, I did not fail any of my classes. I even made honor roll. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, my friends were telling me, Ivan, you need to get out of the binder class. I was already choosing a different path. When my mother saw my achievements, she shed tears, but this time of happiness. I knew I was going to fight for the impossible. I was going to become a successful student. My sophomore year, I ended with a 3.7 GPA. That year, my determination showed. I was selected to travel to Washington, D.C. as part of the top 25 law leaders of our nation. When I arrived there, our teacher asked us, "What does your family do for a living?" Many replied, "Teachers, doctors, lawyers." When it was my turn, I answered, "I am a son of a land worker." I knew it was not correct to pretend to be a son of a doctor, lawyer, or teacher, because AVID taught me to be proud of who I am and where I come from. Especially two friends of mine, Lady and Haley Rodriguez, who are in my AVID class. They taught me that I could be focused on achieving college and I could change my history and my family with a good education. Many people in DC laughed when I answered, but in the end, Ivan Ildefonso won the award for most determined. In my visit to Washington, D.C., I was lucky enough to visit the White House. I met President George W. Bush. The most memorable thing I did, however, was visit the Lincoln Memorial. When I saw the Martin Luther King statue, I knew I wanted to fight with intelligence, loyalty, and humbleness, because that's what made Martin a king, and as him, I too have a dream. My junior year, I strove for excellence. Against the advice of Mr. Falter, I loaded my schedule with 4 AP classes, joined soccer, joined track, and 7 different clubs. It was so important for me to take AP classes because I wanted to prove to myself that I was an overachiever. At West, I saw many people challenging themselves to the limit. I wanted to know how I felt. At first, no one believed I could do it. Maybe because I had been in ESL, or because I was working every day after school, or maybe because I was playing 3 sports. The only thing I desired was the need to prove to myself that I could do it. When I started the advanced placement courses, the biggest fear was overcoming the name AP and the vocabulary spoken. My schedule would only give me time to do my homework after midnight. I was only sleeping 3 to 4 hours per day. I wanted to give up, but I knew I could not. AVID was the answer. AVID helped me every day during tutorials to understand the language spoken in my AP English class, or to understand the Shakespeare book I was reading in my AP Literature. Also, AVID helped me manage my time in my planner and to be organized in my binder. AVID was there for me in the good moments, but also in the moments I did not deserve it. Today, I am a Greeley West graduate, and I will be attending Colorado State University this fall. An achievement that many of my early teachers doubted I would achieve. To the surprise, I was accepted to multiple 4-year universities. I was done with all my credits with the semester left, and I was captain of the varsity soccer team. If that's not enough, I'm still working every day after school to provide for my family. All these truths prove a kid who was in depression has found the group that he always wanted to fit in for so many years. And maybe be considered a leader. AVID has taught me the respect for education, has given me a family. David Falter has become my second father, because to me, a father helps his kid since the beginning to the end. And that's what David Foster did for me when he gave me advancement via individual determination. Thank you.